it's Amy from raisingarrows.net, and you are in my real life kitchen, in my real life, and I am going to be sharing with you today basically what a homeschool week looks like for us. And this is not just going to be about homeschool. This is going to be like our entire life wrapped up into a Monday through Friday kind of video that explains some things. Now I'm really just going to explain some stuff to you, show you some things here in my kitchen, in my home, show you some of the curriculum that we're currently using, and just talk you through what last week looked like for us. I do this fairly frequently on my blog under a day in the life section on my blog, and it's actually called Large Family Homeschool Life. And then I go through like a weekly conversation about what we do day by day so that people can get an idea of what a typical homeschool day looks like for us with life mixed in, because that's how it comes. So I wanted to share some of that with you here on YouTube, because I know some of you don't have time to read and some of you prefer the video format over a post. So first of all, I'm going to start with last Monday, and I'm kind of just looking at my notes from what I wrote on the blog. So my daughter, who's in college, is back home right now, and she works at a coffee shop, and we have 2 vehicles and no third vehicle for the older kids to drive right now. So I am the ride unless they drive themselves, which her coffee shop has a very tiny parking lot, and we have very big vehicles. We have a 12-passenger Ford Transit, and we have a Dodge Ram pickup. So that's what we're driving right now. So I take her to work and I come back home. It's not too far, but a lot of times she works really early in the morning. So I'm getting up super early, which has been kind of nice because I actually get a lot of things done before the kids get up. Whereas most of my adult life, I have not gotten up until the first child gets up. So like if I was nursing a baby, when the baby got up to eat, that's when I got up. And so that's kind of been how I've done things. That's my dishwasher draining, if you can hear that. But I've kind of done things a little bit differently now that I'm taking her to work. So on Monday, I took her to work. It was a really nice morning. We've had some pretty hot, humid temperatures. And so because it was such a nice morning, I decided to open up the house, turn on the whole house fan, and try to get some of the heat out of the attic to help our upstairs not be so hot. But the humidity has kind of kept that from being something we can do. So Monday morning was actually a really nice morning for that. And then I went out and I pruned my container tomatoes, and I cut mint. The mint was kind of unruly and out of control. It's also in a pot on the deck. And so I cut a bunch of mint and I got it ready to put into the dehydrator, except it's not a dehydrator. It's actually my Ninja Foodie 5-in-1 grill. And I don't have a clue what this is like on the inside. Okay, sorry. Sometimes it's like kids shut it and it's still dirty. That is so disgusting. I hated to like open it and scare you. But this has the regular air fry pan, but then it also has a grill. And I bought these off of Amazon. They are dehydrator racks that fit into the Ninja, and it has a dehydrate setting right there. And so I got all of that mint ready. I laid it out on the racks. They're stackable, and I ended up with, you know, a baggie full of mint that we can use for tea. So that's one of my absolute favorite purchases of 2021 was this Ninja Foodie 5-in-1 grill. It has been fantastic. I did not buy the extra large because actually the surface area was not a whole lot better than what I have here. It does have a grill pan that leaves grill marks. I've got it up in the cabinet here. That is really awesome. And that was what I was originally looking for, was an indoor grill that was smokeless and not messy. And this fit the bill. It doesn't leave a mess. It's not gonna drip out the back. It can all go into the dishwasher. It is very, very nice. And I use it for lots and lots and lots of things. We are probably running this thing at least once a day. It is so, so fantastic. So the fact that it can dehydrate too with these stackable racks, they just stack one on top of each other and then they go into there. You push the dehydrate and the start and it takes care of itself. And you can dehydrate just about anything. So I did the mint and we'll use that, like I said, in tea. Okay, so after that, I had some coffee on the deck with my husband, something that we really like to do when the weather is nice enough to be out there. And then I helped him with some military stuff that he needed to get ready. And I quickly realized that there was no way I was going to be able to do morning time. I am not positive if I have a morning time actual video on here. I need to do that if I don't, because we have done morning time now in some form or fashion for years and years. It used to be very, very simple, like just Bible and read aloud, and that was all I could manage. But now it has evolved into something much bigger, and everybody comes. We all sit at the dining room table. Everybody comes together. We do history, we do Bible, we do fine arts from time to time. We do geography. Sometimes there's music involved, there's art. I'm trying to think what else is in there. And then we always end with the read aloud. And then I send everybody off to their independent schoolwork. So that morning, there was no way I was gonna fit any of that in because it was gonna take the whole morning to help him with the stuff that he was doing. And when he is home like that, I take advantage of that. And so I just sent the kids off to their independent schoolwork and I helped him and spent time with him. And before they went off to do their independent schoolwork, they did grab some cinnamon rolls that I'd made for Father's Day, which was the day before. So that tells you where we are in the weeks in case this takes a while to get this video out. I had made cinnamon rolls. I have a recipe on the blog that I typically do, but I decided I wanted to use a cinnamon roll recipe that had pudding mix in it. I'd heard that you could do that. I ran across a good recipe for it. It actually was fantastic. Several of my kids are not big pudding fans, and I had bought a whole bunch of pudding. And so I was trying to figure out ways to use it up. And that was one way that I decided to try it. And it actually was so, so good. And so I think we'll probably end up doing that. I will link the recipe down below for you so that you can see that. We did make the same cream cheese recipe that she has in there, but my husband said he actually liked the one that we usually make, which doesn't have the butter and the extra stuff in it. So on Tuesday, I took my oldest daughter to work again. And when I got back, we definitely had time for morning time. And so I started back in. We've actually been on a 3-week break. My son got married and we went on vacation. So we hadn't done morning time in 3 weeks. And so it was nice to get back into the swing of things. We are doing Biblioplan right now. We're doing that for our modern history. And this is mainly what we're using is the Remember the Days text. We started out with the older level text and quickly realized that it just was not meshing well with my style. It wasn't as engaging. I know they're redoing the modern history one, so maybe it'll be more engaging, but the younger readers was actually engaging, very informational, plenty of information for my older kids, and then I can put them on to other things. There are suggestions in the lesson plans. So like over here, it's got some like free online stuff, and there's just lots of extra resources that I can look to give to my older kids and my younger ones as well. So for Bible, we've gone back to the Hurlbut's story of the Bible. I like the original edition. It's much meatier. It's a lot more interesting. They weave together the stories so that when you get to the story of Jacob and leaving to run away from Esau, you hear about again that Laban is his mother's brother, and it weaves it for you so that you keep track of where you are in history, where you are in the story, who's related to who, the events that are related to other events. I really, really, really like this, but definitely get the original version. I'm not super fond of the edited one. And then after we did Hurlbut's, we did Biblioplan. We are reading about Reconstruction. So we are in the history of, I don't know if it's the history of us or the history of US. I don't know. I always say the history of us. And so we're in Reconstructing America, 1865 to 1890. We just finished the Civil War and now we're in the Reconstruction era. And so Biblioplan, we read in that, and we also read in their Remember the Days text. Oh, we also did maps for South America, and we did president cards. Now what president cards are, from notebooking pages, we get these are bookmarks. Well, I prefer to do the bookmarks because they're small enough that you can just cut out the name, the date, and the picture, and then you put it on an index card. And they can put little fun facts about the president that while we're reading through the information, they can pick out things that interested them and they want to put on their card. And so that's where we got these. I'll have that link down below as well, where you can download these and then you can use them for all different sorts of things. Again, this is the bookmark edition. There's lots and lots of other kinds, like notebooking pages and copywork pages and all kinds of things, maps, flags, all kinds of things there. So this is what we use for the president cards. And we did one for Abraham Lincoln and Andrew Johnson because that's where we were in history. Okay, and then we started our new read aloud, which I would never have actually gotten this book if I hadn't gone to a homeschool conference several years back and bought from Ruby Reads a poster that was a reading poster that went along with the Vanderbeekers of 101st Street. And I will show you real quick. We haven't filled anything out on it other than my daughter Mercy did some coloring on it. But this, let's see if I can back up enough to show you the whole thing. This is the Vanderbeekers reading poster from Ruby Reads, and it just has like things like you can draw pictures of the characters, you can tell what's happening in the chain of events. There's some things for you to talk about, and then you can mark, and I need to mark these, you can mark the chapters as you read them, and then the kids can color it all in. Ruby Reads actually has several of those reading posters, and we picked up a set at that homeschool conference, and so I had never even heard of the Vanderbeekers, but they're actually very charming and very interesting characters, and so far it's been a really good read. And so this is our current read aloud, and then we're using that poster over there. So after we do morning time, then I send the kids off to independent schoolwork. My older boys typically camp out in the living room, and they're doing things like handwriting, they're reading their literature books, they're reading their science. They also have math, which is teaching textbooks. They have that on the big computer upstairs. They also have it on an iPad. Somebody might even have it on a phone, I'm not sure, but they do their math and whatever else they've been assigned. And like I said, they kind of camp out in the living room, and my little girls stay in the dining room with me usually, or we go sit out on the porch, and we will do their independent schoolwork together because I still need to help them. They are 5 and 7, and they have handwriting, and we do a reason for handwriting. And the reason I like that is because she hasn't finished this one, but because they have little sheets at the end of each week where you write out the verse on one of these coloring sheets. And I like that they do something kind of real life with the handwriting. And then they are doing Horizons math. So this is Aspen's math. And then the cover is off of this, but this is from Veritas Press, and it's the old version of Phonics Museum. And so I don't tend to share that real often because I don't like the new version as well, and this worked for us, and so we've just kept with it. And I will finish out the rest of my kids with the old Phonics Museum. I kind of struggled to find workbooks to go with it because it has been discontinued. They have the new updated version, and I just don't feel like it's quite as rich, but that's okay. I taught everybody from my 17-year-old on down to read using Phonics Museum over the years, and so, you know, can't teach an old dog new tricks apparently. Okay, and then after that, my boys had a Zoom meeting with some friends of theirs out of town. They like to get together once or twice a week and talk to these friends of theirs on Zoom, which is kind of fun. And they spend about an hour talking to these friends on Zoom, so that's pretty cool. And while they did that, me and my oldest daughter ran to the fort and we went to the PX and the commissary. I needed to grab some shoes at the PX that I really, really liked. And then at the commissary, they have some really good meat deals a lot of times. And so I think what I picked up there, I know I picked up $1.99 chicken breasts. I think I picked up some hamburger as well that was maybe $2.19 a pound if I remember right. So we grabbed some of those things, and then the crackers, the club and townhouse crackers were like $1 something, $1.79 per box. So we grabbed a bunch of those as well. So on our way home, we stopped at the library. I needed to pick up holds, and I probably had about 8 holds to pick up. But as you're walking in, they have a bunch of books that are discarded or have been donated that are for sale. And so we stopped and browsed those shelves first, and lo and behold, there was a book in there that was mine that I had accidentally just recently put into the book drop, and I had to salvage the poor thing. It was a Tasha Tudor book that I had just gotten off of Thrift Books, and thankfully they let me have it without paying my 25 cents to get it out of hock. But I was pretty upset that I didn't check my library bag before I dumped it. That was bad on my part. Okay, so then when I got home, we had dinner, which was air fried chimichangas. Yes, in the Ninja Foodie again. We had rice, and we had salad, which was the last of the lettuce from my crop out there. I will plant lettuce again when it starts to get a little bit cooler. That was the first time I had ever done lettuce, and it was so wonderful. I am so looking forward to doing it again. And then after dinner, I recorded a podcast. I try to put out 2 podcasts a month. This one was on being a Titus 2 woman, which was also what my last video was about. When I get done with the podcast, I go through and I do a quick edit of the raw file, and then I send it to my son, who is 24, just the one who just got married, and he does the audio edit for it. He uploads it to Libsyn, and then I release it. I get it all the notes and everything ready for it, and I release it. And like I said, I try to release 2 podcasts a month. And then that night, it was my 9-year-old's turn to have his special night. Special night is when we hang out with one child. It's every Tuesday night, and mom and dad hang out with one child in our bedroom usually. And this has changed over the years, but currently what we do is we hang out in the bedroom, we play games, we watch TV, they get a special drink and a special food. And so Creed chose lemon bars and Arizona tea. And that was his special stuff for the night. And so they get to stay up a little bit later than everybody else and just hang out with mom and dad. So that was special night on Tuesday. Okay, now we're on to Wednesday. So guess what? I took my oldest daughter to work again, and it had been raining. So it was pretty wet, but I did get some laundry hung out on the clothesline. When I got back and I checked my container gardens, and I noticed that I have some tomatoes coming on and my potatoes were blooming, so I'm really hopeful that we're gonna have a little bit of a harvest. It's not gonna be a huge harvest. This was really an experiment, but so far I'm really enjoying it. And then we did morning time, and again, we did hurlbuts and we did biblioplan. We did a map of Canada and then read in Vanderbeekers, and then they went off and did their independent schoolwork. Lunch that day was leftovers, and that's pretty typical. It's either soup, salad, sandwiches, or leftovers. And so that day it was leftovers, and then I took my older 3 kids who were still in the house, I took them to a bee farm to work. That's where they work a couple of times a week. So I took them out there again because I don't have a vehicle for them to drive. And then when I got back home, I cooked up the chicken for that night's meal, and I brewed some kombucha. Okay, so that afternoon when I got home, I cooked up some chicken for that evening's meal, and then I brewed some kombucha. I put them in these big pickle jars, and you can see that's a pretty serious SCOBY in there. I'd actually put my SCOBYs away in the refrigerator because we just weren't drinking that much kombucha, but now that it's summer and it's hot, that people are wanting to drink some more. So I brewed that up. It's up here. My plan is to make Dr. Pepper inspired kombucha, and so we'll see how that goes when I go to bottle it. So for morning time on Thursday, we kind of had to cut things short because my 17-year-old needed to go to work. So we just did Hurlbut Story Bible. We did kind of a breeze through history real fast. I don't think we read in Vanderbeekers that day. And then everybody went off to their independent schoolwork, and she'd already gotten hers done. Okay, so after I came back, I pulled out the 4th of July decorations, and hey, sister. And so put some things up. There's some stuff there. My 5-year-old is exasperated with the 9-year-old. So after we put up the decorations, I actually went downstairs. I had pulled out some old photos, and I decided I needed to go through them and clean them up and get them into the box where they weren't all smushed. So I did that, and I found some real gems while I was looking through this. Some of them were, old photos of family, and some of them were people I don't even know. I'm sure I'm supposed to know them, but I don't know them. And then some of them were old photos like the prom that Ty and I went to and things like that. But then this one's a real gem right here. This one is me in a tutu. Yep. Look how happy I am to be in a tutu. Pretty thrilling. For dinner that night, we had Dorito salad, which is the one that has the nacho Doritos and the Catalina dressing in it. And then that night, my 16-year-old's friend, my 16-year-old, his friend came over for popcorn and games. We played Balderdash and Uno, and then we ended up watching Honey, I Shrunk the Kids before she had to go home. Before bed, I did work on some homeschool planning that I've been needing to do. We are going to take a Jubilee year next year, and I'll be sharing more about that as I work through the specifics of that. But we've done this before. Back in 2017, I believe, we took a Jubilee year, and it's actually really, really great. And it gives us some breathing room and some fun things and something different from what we have been doing. So like I said, I'll talk more about that as I continue to plan. Okay, and then finally on Friday, there had been a thunderstorm during the night, and it was still raining that morning, so it was really, really nice. People stayed in bed a little bit longer. I made some oatmeal, got everybody up, and we did what we call a general tidy or a house reset. And then we did our weekly cleaning or our home blessing, and I will put that in the cards, the link to the video where I show what we do during that time frame. But that's the time frame where we put everything back where it's supposed to be, and then we clean the entire house. And used to be I couldn't do that because I didn't have enough able-bodied helpers, but now that I do, we can knock it out on a Friday and have the house very nice for the rest of the weekend for any guests that we may have, and it just feels really good. And then after the chores are done, the kids are basically weekend mode, and they will watch shows, they'll play video games, they'll hang out. During the holidays, we have a candy bowl, and that's the day that they can fill the candy bowl, and it's just sort of a party mode after we've gotten the house clean, and it's just a really nice start to our weekend. Okay, so I needed to put my hair up. I grow my hair out in the summer so that I can do this because I'm just hot. It's like always hot, and it's always humid here, and so I needed to put my hair up. But anyway, I am also in weekend mode after the Friday cleaning because I am really working during that Friday clean to supervise everybody and to declutter during that time and to really get the house reset from a week of not having things fully put back. I like to have things put back, but some things just don't make it back. So after all of that, I want a weekend too. And so what I did this time was I started working through a bulk pantry class that was being led through Homemaking Ministries, I believe. I'll have the link down below. I have a membership to Homemaking Ministries, and she has these different classes and such, and so they have a bulk pantry class. And even though I already have a pretty well-stocked bulk pantry, you can always learn more, and so I really enjoyed going through that. So that's a lot of times what I do on Fridays, is I just take the time to do something that I've really been wanting to do but I haven't necessarily had the time throughout the week to do it. All right, and to finish out that evening, we had cheesy chicken spaghetti for supper, along with some air fried cauliflower. Yep, using the ninja again. And that night the kids watched some shows, and then my 17-year-old and I watched Vera, which is on BritBox. She's a detective who she's a little quirky and we really enjoy it. So we watched a couple of episodes of that, and that rounded out our homeschool week. And so you can kind of see the things that we did. If you'd like me to do more of these, I'd love to hear from you to find out, kind of gauge the interest in whether or not you'd like to see more of these types of videos, because I do this on my blog already. I've done it once for the podcast, and so I'd be more than happy to do it here if it's of interest. And I'd also like to hear, what else you'd like to see from this channel specifically. I do a lot of different kinds of videos, but they all are related to large family homeschooling and homemaking, and that's what raisingarrows.net is also about. So anyway, I'm so glad that you were here, that you watched this video, and we will see you next time.